Hey, what's up, Wargamers? Inquisitor Nathan here today with you with the Drop Podcast, and we're here today at the Toledo Game Room. This is actually my first time coming here and actually being in the store. I have met Daryl before, the shop owner, at conventions, seen him at Adepticon and some other places, so it's good to finally actually get down here and see the shop, which later on you guys should check out. We're going to do maybe a walk-around video and show you what's going on here at the Toledo Game Room as well. But the reason why I came down here today is to speak with my friend Jason, and we've got an event going on here at the Toledo Game Room called the Glass City GT. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it right over to you, Jason. Go ahead and give us a lowdown on the event, what we have going on, and what players can expect here for the Glass City GT.
The Glass City GT is going to be in February. It's the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Friday night is a small strike force event. We'll probably do about 500 points for that. It's just for guys coming in a day early.
Okay.
And then Saturday and Sunday is the main event, the 2,000 pointers. It's 5 rounds. The entry fee is $45 on that until the end of December. After that, it'll be $60. Last year, we did hit a major with about 65 in attendance. And it was a good time, had by all. Some people may have seen some of the internet backflow from that, including some memes that some are still posted up here around the store, actually.
Glass City GT memes.
Yes. And we had about $3,500 in prize support that went out. We do bracket day 2, so that awesome. Went across all the different skill levels, and most of the guys saw about $100 or more that went home with prizes.
Excellent, man. Now, we've been talking a little bit, and I'm sure some people that will be watching have followed along with the group as well. And part of the discussion in the group focused on, rule sets and things like that. And you've made, as I understand it, there have been some revisions on maybe a couple things from the original way you had planned on the outset. Is that right?
The actual Army Comp rules are still in a state of flux. I want to correspond very closely with the chapter approved when it comes out. I am going to stay with the extra detachments being limited to 1. Okay. So none of the Supreme Command, Vanguard, Spearhead, none of those will be able to be duplicated. I may allow the base formations to be duplicated. That's still up in the air. I have a very strong opinion as far as Forge World goes, and there will be no Forge World allowed.
And to be honest, I actually agree with that. Now, and I had said before in previous casts, before anyone calls me a complete flip-flopper on the issues, not a politician, I swear. But I had said, I'm not sure that, banning Forge World would be the thing to do. After, of course, they did the Q&A on on Twitch, that they discussed doing the rules overhauls and looking at everything again. I think that's actually a very reasonable way to look at things. I think that that's a reasonable way to run an event. Just because Forge World feels awkward right now. Would you say that that's a fair assessment? I mean, like in the meta of like tournament play?
The biggest problem right now is that a lot of the big tournament organizers, we do communicate quite frequently. We're all friends on Facebook. We all talk to each other. And most of our rules problems and rules issues, about 75 to 80% of them come from Forge World issues. You have the Charybdis, and should it have a base, or does the clause count as the base? You have the Decimators, you have the Malefic Lords, the Alphabet Soup.
We're looking at you, Quark, from Mini Wargaming.
And Alphabet Soup by himself wins tournaments.
Right.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, the horrors list and all that junk. Oh my gosh. I agree with that. I think that's a good way to approach it, honestly. I think it'll make for good games for the event as well. Have you had anyone who, in particular, has been like, asking like, why are you doing that, or felt that you felt it was like a particularly adverse reaction to it?
A majority of the response to the Forge World ban has been positive. Most of the tournament players have said good, and it's a good step, and it'll probably, what they're hoping is it will become a standard for big events going forward.
And of course, we're doing, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but we're doing 2,000 points for the list. And we talked a little bit about that like earlier. We were all kind of sitting around and we were just talking about points and things. And I think both of us agree that we kind of want to see that be higher. right?
Once all the codexes are out and everything is where it should be, I think 2,500 will be a good spot for tournaments. And I think most of the tournament players agree as well, especially once we get past all the list with tons of just garbage units in front.
Right. I agree with that too. Yeah, I mean, list building, and I had made the comment on Facebook earlier in the week that, you know, for me, playing games, even like pickup games at 1,000 points or 1,500 points, right now it's awkward. Like, I don't even want to do it. You know, like 2,000 basically is the minimum level of enjoyment for me that I'm getting playing these armies. You know, and that at times feels restrictive, especially when, you know, I want to play a list with my knights, and I can't do everything that I necessarily would want to do that I think would make a fun list with that. So yeah, I think there's room to improve there, and I think it's the right way to go for the event. You said that last year you were looking at, like you said, 65.
Yeah, last year we had about 65.
Do you expect it to be higher than that this year? Is there any other areas where you've seen other interests, or?
I would like to see the event hit 80 this year. I think the main issue that I'm hoping is that we don't break 80 by too much this year. If we do break 80, we may have to consider a new venue. We can squeeze 80, maybe 90 in here, Daryl.
Yeah.
But if we get
well,
too much
we have
above
the
that,
worst case, if we have overflow, we have the other building. So I mean, we have more table. We'd have a place either way.
okay.
And to that point, the game room is large. Deceptively driving up
13,000 square feet.
Yeah, so there's room to play at the venue for sure. Now, how long have you guys been running the Glass City GT?
This will be our third year.
Third year, excellent. That's pretty sweet. And as far as like we talked rules composition, we talked is there anything that you expect to see list wise based on anything like that?
With chapter approved coming out, we're going to see probably a giant change to list composition. I can't really go into what I know in regards to that.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
But I will say that lists will probably change significantly. I do expect guard to still be very strong.
Yes.
I do also expect Eldar to probably take a good place there. And maybe Necron's Thousand Sons and Death Guard. Those will all probably be top list.
How do you think that Space Marines and the Gilliman lists are going to be? You don't think those are going to be as looking as popular as that moves on?
The Gilman lists are strong, but as the game is continuing to evolve, the Gilman list is going to fall to a middle top tier list.
What about stuff involving Magnus? Now, there was and I think I even maybe was talking to our other friend Josh about this. I saw something crazy where people were doing something with Magnus and Mortarion and
Alphabets.
Yeah.
Magnus, Mortarion, Alphabets, and 15 Malefic Lords.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy.
I would expect to see none of those because Forge World being banned.
Right.
But I don't think that will be possible.
Yeah.
Come the time of Glass City GT. It may still be doable, but it will probably really hurt your unit selections.
Cool. Well, I'm going to turn for a moment over to Daryl. So tell us a little bit about the Toledo Game Room. How long have you been running the game store? And just weapons free with us.
Well, we just started 31 years.
Excellent.
Opened up back in '87, and we did gaming, comic books, and sports cards back then. But in the late '90s, the sports cards decided to go away, and the gaming's just been getting bigger and bigger. As everyone probably knows, with with Magic coming around, it really hurt role playing. Role playing took a back seat. But right now, the biggest part of game stores is board games. Board games are selling like crazy.
Yeah.
But and then like every so many editions, we have good editions, we have bad editions of 40K, and this one we're getting tremendous response. In fact, my inventory is for new stuff is the lowest it's ever been. I buy it as fast as I can put it in the store.
Sure.
And it's just amazing. If the right rules are there, people will pay the price.
Sure, I agree with that too. And You know, it's funny, when all the 8th edition stuff was first coming out, I was sort of like this. 7th was the edition actually that I started really playing 40K. I mean, of course, I've always known about 40K. Maybe I'd played a game here or there, but 7th edition, I guess you could say, was my first edition, and I actually really liked it. I understand, of course, the criticisms that people had with 7th edition, you know, but for me, I'm like, oh, 7th is great, and formations are cool. Like, you know, I liked all this stuff, and the templates were fine. And, you know, I didn't really mind any of it, but. However, all that said, when 8th edition first started coming out, I was sort of like this 8th edition evangelist, like, you know, this looks awesome and everything's going to be cool. And then a buddy of mine and I played a game and I'm like, oh no, like, I'm not sure that I entirely dig 8th, you know, as much as I thought I was going to. And as I kept playing 8th edition, I kept playing on and on. It actually it really grew on me. And I was like, yeah, this is, you know, they made a lot of really, really good game design decisions, I think, with 8th edition. And simplifying things. I mean, the chart, I think, you know, is one of the biggest things. People were like, oh, this is going to be so complicated, even with all the basic math, you know, to play a game like this. But they did a fantastic job at making that very accessible, I think.
And the living rulebook aspect of it also. Because with them once or twice a year changing what is truly broken with the game will actually help keep players in it.
I think so too. I think so too.
Well, you don't like Squads of Demons with 5 wounds?
Does anybody like Squads of Demons? Well, there's some people like Squads of Demons with 5 wounds, but
nobody likes Squads of Demons.
Heretics and chaos players, man, demon players. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really neat. Board games, of course, are. I agree too. They're like the real big wave right now. I don't know that Magic will ever be small at this point. I think that Magic has like sort of gone. I think that it peaked a little bit like a couple years ago, and then maybe is going through like a little bit of a low dip right now as well. But I mean, you know, Magic will be Magic, and everyone likes to play a game of Magic every once in a while, I think. Who plays at a lot of game stores.
It goes back and forth. We had, a few years back, we had a couple of our military guys and their wives all played Magic big time. And they came in one day, handed me 15,000 rares, and yeah, I know, a lot. And they said, we want 4 Chaos Armies. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And then they got more because they didn't have it, they had no idea what their stuff was worth.
Yeah.
And they you know, so yeah, we were
where are those people
in shock. We were in shock that they wanted to, you know, to jump into 40K, and then they've been because they're actually in the Coast Guard, so they moved in several different locations. And one of them just moved as close as Tennessee now, so he's actually been back twice. He bought a complete Nurgle army off me since then, and
neat.
And for a while there, they were doing the War Machine thing, but because wherever their base was, there was a War Machine group and not a 40K group. Well, now where he's at, it's a 40K group and not a War Machine group. So
cool. And I'm assuming you guys may have crowds that play a gamut of war games that come here. You guys probably got bolt action guys, and
we got actually Warlord Games is coming here on December 2nd and 3rd.
Oh, excellent.
They're it's a demo team that goes all over the country and stuff.
Yeah, the Warlord US demo team, Sylvia Smith and that crew. And
one of the kids that was working for him, we were at Nova Open, and one of the kids was buying off me, and he read a piece of paper saying how big the store was. He goes, dude, you need to have us come to your store. I said, great, who are you? And he goes, oh, I'm so-and-so. And then
excellent.
Next thing you know, I have the top 2 guys, and it's, well, how big of a crew do they want to bring? And the one guy goes, everybody.
All right, cool.
They just didn't expect the average store to be this big.
Right.
I've not found that many stores. I've been looking to see how many stores are out there that are, in the 5,000 to 10,000 range.
Yeah.
I found there's a store up in Michigan that's fairly large. There's Legion Hobbies in Pittsburgh is pretty large. I don't know the name of it, but I just heard of another store that's it's like a 3,000 square foot front store, but then they have like 30 or 40 tables in the back, in like an airport hangar type room in the back. And that's in Wisconsin. I'm not sure where, but somewhere in Wisconsin.
Yeah, actually they do a convention out there. I think I was watching Adam Loper from Tabletop Minions was covering some stuff that they did at a convention out there. The name escapes me at the moment, but yeah, I mean, that's for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, this is the guy you see with the bit spins
The bits guy.
The bits guy, yeah. All those bins that everyone's digging through for like hours at a time when I can't pull my crew away to do like podcast related stuff, they're sitting there digging through these bits bins. So you've probably at some point seen Daryl, buy the bits bins.
A few months back, we had a customer come through the store, and he saw the buckets.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Man, these look like the guy at the conventions." And I said, "Yeah, well, that's me." And he goes, "Dude, I've been looking for you, man. I didn't know what your store name was, and I've been looking for all these bits and stuff." And because I do bits different,
Right.
Believe it or not, we don't bust anything down. Every single piece in the bucket is used armies, whether I buy complete models or like my wife came up with the slogan: we buy new, used, or Games Workshop new, used, or in pieces.
Yep.
And
no sprue clipping.
And well, we clip sprues,
Yeah.
but the sprues are already used from the collections. We don't take boxes off the wall. We don't order anything new and cut nothing down.
Gotcha.
Everything is 100%. Like we do have loose stuff, but it comes. Like we just had a guy brought me $2,000 worth of stuff, and everybody always quotes me what the retail was. And I'm like, but it's
he's not buying in at
anymore.
retail. Yeah.
And
do people pay attention to like Reddit? Reddit's got like a whole pricing guide, by the way, for buying Warhammer 40K stuff. I don't know if you've seen, probably familiar with that or whatever, but
also since he is the bits guy, obviously the bits bins will be open for Glass City.
Yes. So come down to the Toledo Game Room to dig through bits bins because really, guys, I mean, it's so awesome. Like, even just today, I was talking about wanting to look for stuff to do more stuff with my Tyranids. Like, you can never have enough Gene Stealers. I really don't think
like
that's
14 buckets of Tyranids.
Yeah.
Or bits.
Or bits, really.
Especially for Nint.
Yeah, for sure. And it was funny, when I was actually putting together these Gene Stealers the other day, I noticed they had those little nodes. I was like, I've never seen these nodes, ever. I don't know if you put them on bases or if they had a purpose. I think they did have a purpose. And
the thyroid glands.
The thyroid glands. Tony, my buddy Tony Myers, he was like, yeah, nobody like uses those because they look like buttholes. I'm like, whatever, man. It's a gross Tyranid thing. I want to put it on all the bases of my Gene Stealers. But and I'm like, why doesn't anyone make them a little bit more unique? They're like, well, because I don't want to do that with 120 of them and then have to paint it. But I'm that guy. I'm gonna sit there and.
Don't they have multiple Gene Stealer heads?
They do, and I've never seen anything other than like the one couple of heads on them.
Once or twice a year, someone comes and buys this, tells me a specific one they want. I said, sorry, I don't know them, so here's what you can dig in here. You can find the one.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. I think it's going to be a great event. So, and again, just so everyone knows, there is an early. They register early.
It's 45.
45. Okay, so
after the cutoff date, it'll be 60.
And when's the cutoff date?
End of December.
End of December. So, yeah, guys, get it in there. Register. Come on and see us. We love to play games here in Ohio. We like playing 40K, and we've got a really impressive game store here. So, come on out to the event. I think it's going to be a blast, and we're going to have a great time. And we're going to, ideally, if everything we're able to work out the logistics, we'll be having like the live tables or top tables as well being streamed on Twitch. So if you haven't yet followed us at the Drop Podcast Twitch and subscribe to the YouTube channel, do go ahead and do that. That's going to include all the updates for events. And of course, I talked a little bit, I don't know if you were part of this thread or not, but I would like to ideally be keeping a basically repository of updated lists from these events that people can access more easily for free online. And I realize that that's a very big job, I think. I know Blood of Kittens has like a record as well, but keeping everything up to date, major events like that, especially out east, where sometimes it's harder for stores to do like a whole big old string of events that are maybe ITC or whatever the case may be. But I'd like to keep that more updated, have something more accessible that people have that. So hopefully we're able to undertake that project and get that going too. So, did you have anything to add that you wanted to say about the event or tell the people to,
it was a really great time last year. We gave out a ton of money. Our last place guy walked away with $125. It happened to be a young kid. I think he's 12, 13. He did awful, lost all 5 games, still walked away with $125.
Hey.
We do bracket day 2, so that means that we'll break it down into groups and we give out prizes to each of the brackets. Last year was 16 brackets, with the lowest bracket getting about $150, and it went up from there.
Cool. Excellent. Well, you heard it, guys. Toledo Bits Room, the Glass City GT. It's going to be amazing. Go ahead and register early and get that discount. And we're going to be having a great time here. So we hope to see you there. Inquisitor out, guys. Have a good one.